I've got a sea of doors and I'd like to show how to install one. These are the split jamb style, which means they'll fit various width door openings and they're fully loaded. Trim on both sides for easy installation. Here's the doorway, there's the door. And I'd like to say from the beginning, installing doors can be tricky, and what I do is I just start using common sense, basic carpentry tools, and give the door what it needs as it's presented. And I'm not going to go over all the tools, you'll see them throughout the process. So let's get started. So I'll remove this door aligner. Basically, you just pry it and break it. However, I'll leave it in place for now. Then you want to look down your jamb for any staples that will be holding the split together. Remove them. Remove the split section. Push out. This next step will be important in order to hang a door easily. Checking for level, and it needs to go down on this end. That's exaggerated, but keep in mind it needs to go down a little bit. And then this is the hinge side, the most important area. Needs to go out a little bit at the lower section, so that'll be a small shim. An easy way to install a door is put the bottom in first. Tight to the wall, straight in. Now, I'll be having carpet throughout the home, so I'm going to push this all the way to the top, and that's how I'll install it to ensure plenty of room for the carpet. So at this point, I want to take this holder out. Now the door is free to do whatever it wants. What I find works well to support the door is an old pillow. And I want the door on top of that, so I'm going to pull it back out, lift up, you'll see. Go higher than the pillow is the idea. Not only does it support the door, it raised me up. This side, I don't much worry about in the beginning. I'm ready for an anchor, tight against the jamb. Held in place, check for level. Almost perfect. Here we are on the other side. You can see it's tight to the jamb and it's tight all the way up. So we're ready for the first mount. I pre-drill because I don't have a shooter. Finish nail. Tight to the wall. Several methods to anchoring a door. One, remove that screw, put a 3-inch screw in its place. The other way, remove all 3 screws. Tilt the hinge inward and bury the screw behind the hinge. Put the hinge back, you don't see the screw. That's so if somebody puts new hinges on, when they remove it, the jamb does not move. So at this point, with one fastener, I look at the level, and it needs to come down at the bottom just a tad. So I'll put an anchor here and one at the bottom, but leave it a tad loose, room for shims. Here at the bottom, I'm using another clamp. That nail's snug, but if you put a shim in there, it'll move just a little bit. Speaking of shims, the issue with split jamb, you can't put a shim through this way and one in this direction. So I just go upward and then get it where I want it, snug it up, cut off the excess, and then push inward. we're at the bottom of the jamb. Here's the nail sticking out. So you level it to see what you need. And I'm going to move the level to show the process. Then, screwdriver, putty knife, and you just pull it out right to where you need it. I'm all the way at the end of the stud. Check it. Then, if you're level, you install shims. Then do the same here in the center. Now, of course, you can do the same thing with screws, but it's kind of nicer this way because when you put the shims in, they're already snug and where they need to be, and then you nail it off. At this point, we can remove the clamp. So I know this needs to go up, but a clamp would be my way. I have this tool here. I'll jack it up. Now that's weird. It's tight here, and it shouldn't be. Why is that? And that's why it gets tricky. All right, it shows the door needs to come down. It's nice about that jack, you can go in increments. So what I'll do is I'll get that reveal perfect and get this reveal perfect, which is real tight here and I'm not sure why yet. Another thing to look at is the angle of this board. And you can see it's tilted this way. So by putting a shim back here, it'll tilt this way, setting the hinge back a little bit more, giving us more reveal on the opposite side. See if that did anything? Yes. Much more reveal. Now I have a lot more to work with. The top is good. Now I'll just match this the whole way down. I always make this gap more than what it's supposed to be because of swelling in the summer. There's nothing worse than a door that rubs. Another thing you want to look at, well, let's look at this first. The door's not perfectly level. Wow, it's level that way, not the other. Hate when that happens. However, I'm more concerned about function, and of course, you don't want the door to swing on its own, which it doesn't. Also, you want the door to hit evenly on the backstop the whole way around, or you'll get a vibration sound. And that's because you see some daylight in there. It's not square. So you push this back till it meets. And then anchor it. Then when you close the door, it's square. So since the height of the door is correct, but we need to go this way or that way, I put some shims in here, and I'm going to snug them up. And that will hold everything in place. Almost perfect, a little bit of light showing, and since this is snug, I can just tap it in place. Nice. At the moment, this needs to go in a bit, and maybe the wall's bowed, and that's the way it goes with doors. I'll leave that a little loose for reveal adjustments. Oh, nice. Went just past the nail. So I'll do the rest of the door the same way, and we'll skip to the end. I'd like to point out the placement of shims. You want one at each hinge location, and this one you can't see because it's pushed way back under the hinge, and this one's outward because we're adjusting the frame here, and that also affects reveal. Also one at the latch, and then anywhere else needed to adjust the reveal. Now we're at my favorite part, installing the split. It slides right in, Look how quick that was. No measuring, no cutting, no need for a miter saw, and you don't have to worry about your joints lining up. Now you want to install some small finish nails on the faceplate and through this strip here, and that will tie the split jamb together. Earlier I discussed options for mounting here with longer screws. However, I don't do any of that. I'm nailed here, so it's tight to the wall. And then I have 3 nails across the top. So there's no way this can go that way. Plus I have a shim at the end. This door ain't going nowhere. Here at the bottom it looks a bit jacked up. However, when they get the carpet pad and carpet in there, it'll fill that gap, be easier for the installers, and it'll have a nice professional look. I'd like to point out an issue I ran into. I have a little air gap around there, and I did that on purpose. I'll show you why. This wall is bowed ever so slightly. So I split the difference. A little gap here and a little gap behind this trim. It's not tight to the wall. However, from that vantage point, probably not even noticeable, so I could leave it the way it is or take a little caulk and fill that in and it disappears. Door reveal looks good across the top. Almost perfect down through here. Another check, use your door liner that was supplied with the door and put right in there. It should go all the way in, and that ensures your door handle set will line up perfectly. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Hope this has helped someone. And in the next video, I'll throw some paint at the doors